Hey, what's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. It is Wednesday, October 26th. In this video, we're looking at the 10-game DraftKings and Fanduel slate. Let's get started. Always, if you enjoy the content, appreciate if the like button for me. Subscribe if you have not already. I have a lot of superstars on this slate. We have a couple of teams that are pretty thin, especially the Spurs and the Hornets are missing a key piece or two. So we'll go ahead and talk about the slate and talk about some of those teams and what guys look really good. So starting off with the point guard picks, nobody's above 10K today. You have the two Atlanta guards right behind each other, 98 and 97 for Murray and Trae Young. It's just tough to get to either one of them for myself on DraftKings, just because there's a lot of other cheaper point guards, and until one of them misses a game or two, I'm just not looking to, get to either one, because they're kind of taking away some usage from each other. And even though they've been pretty steady putting up fantasy points, you're not going to be happy with 48, 50, 51 fantasy points at almost $10,000. You're going to need a little bit more than that. Harden looks good at 96. He's been putting up close to triple doubles every game, putting up around 60 points. He's cheaper than those guys, so definitely like Harden more than the two Atlanta guards. Donovan Mitchell is still playing without Darius Garland, so he looks good, but 95 is a high price tag. I like Harden more, but don't think I'll get to any of those guys above 9K. 8K range, Jrue Holiday did have bounced back nicely against the Rockets, shot better as expected. Now they've had a bunch of days off, so he should be fresh and ready to go in a good marquee matchup against Brooklyn, going up against Simmons and Kyrie and Durant. At home, it should be a high-scoring game. Van Fleet is 84. His price tag has come up a little bit. I'd say on DraftKings, 76, 83, 86. Last game out was 84. Depends on the news of Scotty Barnes a little bit, how much you want to get exposure to the Toronto side, but they're still playing monstrous minutes. I mean, he started in the first game. Nick Nurse throwing these guys out there for a boatload of minutes. Halliburton continues to have to play a good amount of minutes and just play with a lot of usage. He has 10-plus assists in 3 straight games, really getting his teammates involved. 83 is a good price tag. Maybe not the easiest matchup against Chicago. They don't play at the quickest pace, but still looks solid, given probably like him more than Van Fleet and Holiday. And then 7K range, like Kevin Porter Jr. So once again, a rematch of the last matchup against Utah. This time they're going on the road, though. Still played really well, even though he only shot 8 of 19. Only made 1 3, but he got to the free throw line 9 times. Knocked them all 9 down. And another really good fantasy line from him. Price tag is quickly and slowly creeping up, but he's still a reasonable option. I like him more than Cade, and I like him more than D'Angelo Russell. I've been playing Tyler Hero a lot so far this year. It's been working out nicely. He's just looked so good playing big minutes. Now the price tag is getting close to 7K. He's right under 7K, $6,900. A little bit tougher, but still, if you want to get to him, no problems there. Just you're going to need him to shoot really well like he has been. Jamal Murray's minutes, he got up to 26 last game, 27. Still been in that 26 to 28 minute role. It was a blowout loss against Portland as well. I mean, nobody really played well on the team, though it is a bounce back spot against a bad Lakers defense. Don't mind him on FanDuel at all. DraftKings, think you can do a little bit better just with some of the guys cheaper that will play probably 8 to 10 more minutes than him. Going further down, see Scotty Barnes. He ended up being questionable last game, and he's questionable again today after they said he probably missed some time. So maybe it's not as worse as they thought, or as bad of an injury as they thought it would be. Looks like Russ Westbrook probably sit. Hamstring issue, quote unquote, we'll see. But he kind of cost the team the win against Portland with that terrible decision to shoot. He was like 4 of 14, and then he shot a 20-foot jumper with like 20 seconds left on the shot clock, under a minute to go with them up by 1. Pretty funny video if you haven't seen that yet. But just has not done anything worth of note so far this year. He's a fade, and will continue to be a fade for me. Clarkson, 63 against Houston once again. It ended up being a lower scoring game than initially thought. Only a 122 total ended up being last game. It was pretty low scoring first half. They picked it up a little bit in the second half. I think I'll pick it up more in this game. You had some guys shoot pretty poorly in that one. But usually the matchup between the Rockets and the current Jazz will be more pace and more scoring opportunities. So I don't mind going back to Clarkson. But it's tough to pass up on Trey Jones at $5,500 when you have no Devin Vassell, who's doubtful. You're still dealing with just not having a full roster or a full roster of NBA players with them trying to tank. But they have done a good job of winning. They beat Minnesota last game. I think they're 3-1. So really it's not working out for them if they're trying to lose games. But Trey Jones been really productive. 55 is still a great price tag, especially without Devin Vassell. You should get more usage, more scoring opportunities. And with the Hornets being without LaMelo Ball, without most likely Rozier and Martin, it looks like both of Rozier and Martin are doubtful. You'll see Dennis Smith Jr. start once again. He's 6K. It's against the Knicks. He had a good game last time he started with 37. His price tag went up a little bit, but he's still a solid option. I might just prefer Trey Jones for 500 less if I had to pick between those two. Over at the shooting guard position, top end, kind of touched on a lot of these guys that are point guard eligible. Rozier is doubtful, so you're going to be looking at some value from the Rockets, or from the Hornets side. Clarkson at 63 looks solid. LeVert's still going to start and play 34, 36 minutes without Garland there. You have 58 for Josh Hart. He looks pretty solid, even though it's not the easiest matchup. Just plays a lot of minutes, and he gives you lots of rebounding opportunities and opportunities for double-doubles if he can score at least 10 points, which he hasn't done the last two games. Value-wise at this position, it's like a Josh Richardson. Should probably jump into the starting lineup in place of Devin Vassell. So if he is in the starting lineup at $3,900, he looks really appealing. Small forward, you have Kevin Durant at the top end. He's 10K. He hasn't dropped more than 50 fantasy points yet this year. He does a good job scoring, but they have Ben Simmons to get some assists and rebounding. They have Kyrie to get some assists and shoot a lot as well. So it's just tough to prioritize some of these guys when they're playing with two other guys that will command usage and will take away production. So not that interested at that price tag. It's another position where you can go with some value in the 6K range. With Markkanen was a big disappointment last game against Houston. He was one of the reasons why it ended up being a low-scoring game, because he couldn't buy a bucket. But I'm going to go back to him. It was a back-to-back for them, and coming off of a couple of overtime games, just didn't have the legs probably. Now he has day off, back at home after 3-game road trip to start off the year, except for the first game. Just shot 7 of 19, 0 of 6 from 3, and 0 of 3 from the free throw line. So just didn't have it that game. Still finished with 22 fantasy points in 31 minutes. Maybe saw a couple minutes less with the way he was playing. I think he'll bounce back. The price tag hasn't really adjusted, and he's been just really dangerous with the usage that he's been getting. And as long as he doesn't shoot like he did last game, he should hopefully return value. So you have Markkanen. You also have a really, really nice play in Kelly Oubre Jr. You can put him in at power forward or small forward. But love Kelly Oubre tonight. Not having Rozier, not having Ball. Looks like not having Martin as well. It's just going to be the Kelly Oubre, Gordon Hayward show in terms of the scoring perspective. He can get you rebounds. He's going to play big minutes. He's going to shoot a lot. Shot 20 times last time. And they ended up being a 17-point win for them. They were big underdogs going into that game, but they ended up getting the job done. So probably saw a little bit less minutes in the fourth with the blowout nature, but he could see upwards of 36, 37 minutes against the Knicks today with them being so shorthanded. So he's got to be one of my favorite plays at that price tag. Other picks at small forward, value-wise, would be OG Anunoby, Tobias Harris, both guys 6K. You can look at Josh Hart, and you're going to get you see without the Lakers having Westbrook there, they could start Troy Brown, they could start one of the guards, so we'll see when we get any clarity on that news, if we do get any. Over at power forward, your pay-up is Giannis. He's going to be my favorite pay-up on the slate. It's a marquee matchup against Brooklyn at home. He's been continuing to get some extra shots without Middleton there, and he shot really, really well. I mean, you're not expecting him to shoot 17 of 21, but against Houston, nobody would stop him. Nobody could stop him going into that game, so no surprise he put up 64 fantasy points and 44 real-life points. He lost minutes with the blowout as well, so he probably was on pace for north of 70. If he gets his normal 30 plus 33, 34 minutes today, should put up 60 easily. Other picks, you have the Lakers guys going into Denver, not that interested. Without Westbrook, it'll open up some usage, but the pricing is kind of where it should be. LeBron looks better, I'd say, than Davis. I like the price tag on Julius Randle. Pretty weird second game against Detroit where he only played 25 minutes. The starters all played less minutes in that game. But he kind of went back to normal last game where he played 34 against Orlando, put up 50 fantasy points. He's just a guy that's going to give you a lot of usage, lots of rebounding, maybe a defensive stat here and there, and then a good amount of scoring. PJ Washington should get more opportunities for scoring today and more usage at 64. There's some better picks, but just wanted to highlight him. Love Keldon Johnson at 68. He's going to soak up a lot of the usage and scoring that Devin Vassell would have done. So he's still playing mid-30s in minutes. He's been shooting a ton, 15 to 20 times in all 4 games. He should get more rebounding opportunities today without Vassell. He only made 1 of 4 free throws last game. Had a poor shooting night. But rebounding should be there. Can get you some ball handling, some assist opportunities. And we'll look to score north of 20 points. So 68 in a good matchup against Minnesota. Minnesota's not played great defense, even with the acquisition of Rudy Gobert. Some people saw that coming, just with how fast they'll play. So I still think the Spurs guys look really, really good today. And they'll close it out with another Spur over at center, where you have Giannis. You can throw in here at 11-2. Like Giannis more than Embiid. 6K range, you have Jakob Poeltl, who I love. You can also go with Nurkic if you wanted to go with more of a GPP sort of play. But Poeltl, 64, is going to have to play the minutes against 2 bigs in Minnesota. He played well last game, 40 fantasy points, got 14 rebounds. See another similar stat line, 35 to 40 for a $6,400 price tag. Looks really appealing. And that's going to close out the DraftKings side. Let's go ahead and look at FanDuel. So for FanDuel, I got the picks already on the screen here. At point guard, I'm still going with Trey Jones, even though he's a bit more expensive at 63. But we'll still he's always gives you opportunities for a lot of assists, so maybe he can flirt with a double-double there today. He's going to have to score a little bit more than usual without Vassell. And the pricing is still fine on some of these guys. I like Trae Young more on FanDuel at 87. I like Halliburton a little bit still at 86. Don't think I'll get to any of these top-end guys much. 7K range, you like Holiday a lot at that price tag. You could take shots at KPJ if you wanted to, and probably like Holiday a little bit more. Below 7K, you have Jalen Green. You have 65 for Dennis Smith. So he's kind of pricey on FanDuel, but he's still going to get opportunities without LaMelo Ball and Rozier and company. And then once again, I like the 6K range with Clarkson and Cole Anthony playing and getting good minutes and usage without Jalen Suggs. And Jamal Murray on FanDuel is really cheap still at 54. He's going to have a good night once in a while, or pretty soon, as long as he stays with that 26 to 28 minute range. Maybe they bump him up shortly. At shooting guard, Kelly Oubre, love that price tag on both sides. He's going to, we've seen Kelly Oubre put up 40s and 50s. Just with last year at times when they were super shorthanded, he definitely has the GPP and even cash game upside. And still will have a good floor today with how thin they are. So I love Kelly Oubre. Once again, same type of guys you can look at. If you're looking to pay up a bit, Jalen Green value-wise, Gordon Hayward as a value. Not too many teams. I mean, you still have some teams on a back-to-back, but yesterday was only a 4-game slate, so not too many. One of the teams was the Pistons with Ivy, so maybe look elsewhere. Value-wise, LeVert's still going to get the opportunities and minutes without Garland. You have a decent price tag on Josh Hart as well. Small forward, I'll put in Giannis at 11.6. Look to pay up for him on both sites, at least on FanDuel. At that price tag is my favorite pay up on the slate, followed by Jokic. Mid-range, you have DeMar at a pretty good price tag, 85. 7K range, you have Ben Sherrill, but tough matchup. I'll probably still look to like Johnson and Markkanen here. Just with them being pricey, but still having a lot of upside and having 2 of the best matchups you could ask for. If I had to pick one, it would be Keldon Johnson, just with not having Vassell there. Other picks would be Hayward at 65. Maybe look to OG Anunoby if you wanted to. But the mid-range looks pretty strong. I think it might be a spot where you can pay up a bit. That's why I plugged in Giannis here. Power forward, I went with Kelly Olynyk at 53. I mean, for myself, Cat is really nicely priced at 84. Just a matter of, you want him trying to get to 40-plus fantasy points instead of in the 30s. I like Randall probably the best, though, against Charlotte. It's a great matchup with them being thin. And the price tag is really nice on FanDuel at 79 for a guy that will give you 50-point upside. So I love Randall. I like Keldon Johnson, like Markkanen still. And then it drops off a little bit, 6K range. You still have these 3 that look appealing, Harris, Mobley, and Smith. Under 6K, looking at PJ Washington at 58. We'll get more opportunities. Kind of struggled last game, but it was some other guys just had the hot hand, so he didn't get the minutes as much as you would have thought. But I like Olynyk at 53, starting at center for the Jazz, and he's been able to hit the three, give you some rebounds. He bounced back with 9 rebounds, but had a bad shooting night, so only made 13 fantasy points. Also didn't have any defensive stats, and 5 turnovers will give you -5 on FanDuel, and only 26 minutes as well back-to-back, and wasn't playing as well. So, the Jazz still have a lot of other guys that they can throw out there. They're pretty deep on the bench with like Sexton and Taylor Horton-Tucker and like Walker Kessler, all those guys there. But Olynyk is probably still looking at 30-plus minutes a night, as long as he's not in foul trouble and not playing terribly. And last but not least, I threw Jakob Poeltl on both sides once again, just with the pricing, looks pretty good. You could go up to Jokic if you wanted to at 11K, but I'm still looking to prioritize Giannis. And then 8K would have been Cat, potentially. 7K would be Julius Randle. But I still think you can look at 40-point upside on Jakob Poeltl, and you can even have those great games where he gives you a lot of blocks, which he hasn't really done yet this year. But 30 minutes or more from him, double-double easily, with a couple of assists, and can get you easy baskets. So that's what I got for the first look for this slate on both sides. Looking at definitely prioritizing the Spurs, the Hornets, look to prioritize Giannis if I can, the Jazz guys. So that's what I got today. Thank you for watching. Best of luck, and I will see you all next time.